While Elaine was getting excited, Fred announced loudly, "Everyone, don't worry. I'm going to talk to them right now. Just wait here for the good news." Elaine felt untouchable with Fred backing her up. "Fred, I'm coming with you," she blurted out. Charlie quickly stepped in. "Mom, you should probably stay here. If Fred can't handle this, you could get into real trouble." Elaine snapped angrily. "Are you questioning Fred's abilities?" The other seniors were all counting on Fred to get their life savings back. So when Charlie started expressing doubts, it naturally made everyone angry. Facing their accusations, Charlie said calmly, "Mom, it's safer for you to wait here. It's best if you don't get involved in the negotiation." Elaine wasn't having any of it. She immediately cursed. "Shut your mouth! This has nothing to do with you." Fred's face was full of arrogance. He laughed and said, "You've got no skills, but you're definitely full of jealousy. You think I'm a loser like you who just stands around shouting empty words." Seeing that his mother-in-law wasn't going to listen to him, Charlie stopped trying. He just said lightly, "All right then. I'll be waiting for good news from Mr. White." Charlie was getting fed up with his mother-in-law, Elaine. She was a complete snob, always fooled by appearances. To put it simply, she was just like Lady Wilson, all style and no substance. His mother-in-law had no foresight and just had to jump into the mess herself. There was no talking her down from her high horse. Elaine, completely clueless that Charlie was just trying to help, shot him a nasty look. Then, in the next second, she turned to Fred and said apologetically, "Mr. Fred, please don't pay any attention to the nonsense he's spouting. I have absolute faith in you." Fred smiled triumphantly. "It's all right, Elaine. I'm not going to lower myself to the level of a wimp." With that, he said energetically, "Elaine, let's go." "Okay." Fred led Elaine through the crowd and walked right up to the door of the Harley Insurance Company. As soon as they got to the door, he shouted at the employees blocking the entrance, "Go tell your boss to refund all these people's money immediately. Otherwise, I'm getting my legal team and the police involved. When that happens, you and your boss will be arrested." Elaine chimed in from the side, "You hear that, you crooks? We've got powerful people on our side now. If your scam of a company doesn't give us our money back, be careful, because Mr. White here will send every last one of you to prison." The young employee at the head of the line got nervous. "I'm sorry," he said quickly. "I'm just a security guard. I don't handle the actual business." "Then call your boss," Fred said coldly. "Tell him that Fred White from the Oris Hill Elite is here. He needs to come down and deal with this personally, or else he'll have to face the consequences." As he said this, Fred's face was full of arrogance. While the White family wasn't at the top of the food chain in Oris Hill, they were at least a mid-level power. He figured the boss of a scam company would have no choice but to fold after hearing his name. The young employee didn't know how deep Fred's connections ran, but he was definitely spooked, so he immediately called his boss. Right then, in the chairman's office at Harley Insurance Company, the boss, Harley Fitzpatrick, was waiting on a flat-faced, middle-aged man in his 40s. He was all smiles as he pulled a bank card from his desk drawer and handed it over respectfully. "Mr. Hudson," he said, "there's $30 million on this card. The pin is your birthday. This is your cut for this round. Please, have a look." The middle-aged man was dressed in a sharp suit. He looked a little unhinged, but his eyes weren't angry. They were commanding. The guy had an incredible presence. If anyone else had been in the room, they would have immediately recognized him. He was Orville Hudson. In all of Oris Hill, everyone knew that Orville Hudson was the city's underground kingpin. Nobody dared to cross him. Orville Hudson looked at Harley Fitzpatrick and smiled with approval. "Harley," he said, "I didn't realize you had it in you." "Not bad. Not bad at all." Harley quickly asked, "Mr. Hudson, what should we do about that troublemaker Mrs. Wilson downstairs?" Orville said casually, "A bunch of old folks. Don't worry about them. If they don't listen to you, I'll have some of my guys come over and teach them a lesson." Harley breathed a sigh of relief. "Oh, thank you, Mr. Hudson." Orville Hudson smiled. "From now on, just go for it with this kind of business. As long as you're making money, I'll take care of any problems you have." Harley was ecstatic. He put on a humble expression and said, "Thank you, Mr. Hudson. With you backing me up, I'll keep pushing harder and we'll both make a fortune." Harley didn't come from a powerful family in Orris Hill, but he had one thing going for him. He was clever and knew how to run scams. He got into financial fraud, and knowing he couldn't handle that much dirty money on his own, he went to Orville for help. He offered Orville a cut of the illegal profits in exchange for protection. Since Orville Hudson called the shots in Orris Hill, Harley was completely safe. With Orville as his backer, he didn't have a single worry about the future, and his fraudulent business was booming. Just as Harley was getting excited about his new connection with Orville, his phone rang. It was one of his employees. "Boss, we've got a problem. There's a guy here, Fred, who says he's from the White family. He's demanding all the money back right now, or he'll have you sent to prison." "Damn it, what's this about?" Harley frowned and quickly turned to Orville. "Mr. Hudson, there's a guy downstairs claiming to be from the White family, leading that group of old folks to cause trouble. He's going around saying he runs this city and that we have to give back all the money we collected or he'll put us in prison." Harley deliberately exaggerated to get a rise out of Orville. As he spoke, he bowed again and begged, "Mr. Hudson, the White family has some real pull here in Orris Hill. If they come after me, I really can't afford to make an enemy of them. Please, you've got to help me get through this." "The White family?" Orville snorted. "The little White family is a joke to me. Even the head of their family has to bow and scrape when he sees me. Now some kid of theirs has the nerve to come after me? He must have a death wish." "Ha ha 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 ha." With that, Orville slid Harley's bank card into his pocket and said coldly, "Let's go. I want to see what kind of nobody thinks he can step to me. When Orville Hudson takes money, nobody gets it back." Fred stood at the door of Harley Insurance Company with a proud look on his face. He knew this was the perfect chance to show off in front of Claire's mother, Elaine, and he had to nail it. If he could win over the mom, getting the daughter would be easy. He'd be able to get with Claire, one of the most beautiful women in Orris Hill. The thought alone made him excited. So he announced loudly, "Folks, don't you worry. The boss of this scam company is coming out right now to give everyone a full refund." When the crowd heard this, they erupted in applause, every single one of them ecstatic. Only Charlie watched Fred with a smirk. This guy was way too full of himself. Charlie had a feeling he was about to get a rude awakening. Just as Fred was soaking in the crowd's admiration, chin held high, the door to Harley Insurance Company was suddenly pushed open from the inside. They saw the boss, Harley Fitzpatrick, walk out with a middle-aged man in a stylish suit. Even though the man was a bit older, he had an incredible presence. It was Orville Hudson. Behind Orville, several tough-looking men followed closely. These were his personal bodyguards, and they all looked incredibly strong. Orville's status was so high that even though many people in Orris Hill knew his name, most had never actually seen him. So no one, not even Fred, recognized him. Everyone only recognized Harley Fitzpatrick, the boss of Harley Insurance. The crowd immediately erupted. "Look, Elaine, Fred really got Mr. Fitzpatrick to come out. He's amazing." "Yeah, it's all thanks to Elaine. We might actually get our money back." "Elaine? That young man is a real catch. He'd make 1,000 times better son-in-law." Elaine soaked up the flattery from the others, feeling incredibly pleased with herself. Fred had really helped her look good in front of everyone today. Thinking about it made her smile even wider. The way she looked at Fred was with pure satisfaction. Just then, Fred strode forward triumphantly, puffing out his chest. He didn't know Harley Fitzpatrick, and he didn't know Orville Hudson either. But since Harley seemed to be showing respect to Orville, he just assumed Orville was the boss. So he looked at Orville and said proudly, "Are you the boss of Harley Insurance Company?" Orville replied with a slight smile, "I'm not the boss. I just help him out. But if you've got something to say, you can say it to me." Fred's face lit up with understanding, and then he sneers. "Oh, so you're just some flunky. You're not important enough to talk to me. Get lost and send your boss out here." Charlie just shook his head, looking at Fred like he was an idiot. The man in the suit clearly had a commanding presence, with his crew right behind him. He was obviously not someone to mess with. But Fred was still running his mouth, practically begging for trouble. Elaine, standing nearby, also sneers and chimed in. "Fred, don't waste your breath on this nobody. The guy next to him is the boss of Harley Insurance." Harley Fitzpatrick was floored. This Fred and that old woman had some nerve. They actually dared to insult Orville Hudson like he was some street punk and tell him to get lost. They had no idea who they were dealing with. In all of Eris Hill, who would dare to be so bold as to insult Orville? Anyone who did would end up at the